The Life and Legacy of Jane Birkin. Born on December 14, 1946 in Marylebone, London, to Judy and David Birkin. Her mother, Judy Campbell, was an English actress, best known for her work on the stage. Her father was a Royal Navy lieutenant commander and World War II spy. Jane was raised in Chelsea and describes her time at school as being a horrible one. Jane was shy, thin, and lanky, and was bullied for her looks. She attended Miss Ironside's school in Kensington and was educated at Upper Chine School in the Isle of Wight. When she was 17, she met composer John Barry, whom she married in 1965, having her first daughter, Kate, in 1967. Barry ended up leaving for the United States, and the couple divorced in 1968, Birkin returning to live with her family in London. During this time, she auditioned for film and television roles in England. Jane Birkin arrived just in time for the swinging 60s in London, a youth-driven cultural revolution that took place in the United Kingdom. During this time, there was a flourish in art, music, and fashion, and was symbolized by the city's pop and fashion exports. Bands such as the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, the Who, the Kinks, the Animals, and the Small Faces defined the era, and popular fashion models such as Twiggy and Jean Shrimpton. During the 1960s, London underwent a metamorphosis from a gloomy, grimy post-war capital into a bright, shining epicenter of style. Psychedelic rock also grew in popularity, from bands like Pink Floyd, Cream, and the Jimi Hendrix Experience. In her early acting career, Jane appeared in films like The Knack and How to Get It in 1965, Blow Up in 1966, Kaleidoscope, also in 1966, and Wonderwall in 1968. For the film, she was cast as a fantasy-like model, which had a psychedelic film score by George Harrison. In 1969, she starred alongside Romy Schneider in the French thriller La Piscine, or The Swimming Pool in English. This would be the first of a great number of French artistic projects Jane would be a part of. Jane stated, "Without my accent, I would have had a very different career. The French gave me a real gift and accepted me very quickly. They found me amusing, in large part because of my accent and the mistakes I made in French. It's no doubt, it's one of the reasons I never sought to improve it." That year, Jane auditioned in France for the female lead role in the film Slogan, a film that would forever change her life. Jane had stated when referring to her life during this time, "John Barry had just left me and went to the States. I had my baby Kate, and I found myself at home with my parents. Everything around me collapsed. I didn't want to stay at home waiting for something to happen. I was in a restaurant at King's Road with my friend Gabrielle, and we heard about an audition for a French film, Slogan, which the prettiest girls in London were running to. I think director Pierre Grimblat found me amusing. I am blessed by him for hiring me. I don't know what I would have become in England. Would I have dared to act on stage when my mother, Judy Campbell, Noel Coward's muse, was the most beautiful woman in England, according to Cecil Beaton, and a huge star? With my father's family, would I have dared to have a career with such freedom as I had in France? All of those things were highly unlikely." Though Jane did not speak any French, she won the role. This is where she would meet Serge Gainsbourg, and together they would become one of the most famous artistic duos. I first met Serge in France for the screen test for Pierre Grimblat's Slogan. He was very swarthy, had an exquisite, unusual face, and was wearing a mauve shirt. He was sarcastic, not unpleasant, but I could see he didn't really care much about anything. As the master of the manor, he could have insisted on another girl, since the film depended on his name. Marissa Berenson, in particular, had just auditioned and was sublime. He was kind and told me that he would never have the nerve to attempt a test in a language that wasn't his own. I learned the text phonetically, without understanding a word of what I was saying. After the film, my life would never be the same.
Slogan, mais vous connaissiez à peine, enfin.
Je connaissais pas.
Vous connaissiez pas. Vous êtes connu pendant le slogan. Curieux, enfin, on a l'impression quand on voit slogan que c'est votre vie, enfin c'est véritablement votre vie. Alors, je crois que quand vous avez...
Oui, je la trouvais pas terrible. Puis ça a changé en cours de tournage.
The film marked the beginning of the 13-year relationship between Gainsbourg and Birkin. After filming Slogan, Birkin relocated to France permanently. Jane stated, "Despite what I would have imagined, my parents were delighted. After seeing me so miserable with John Barry, they at last saw me happy." In 1969, they together released a duet called Je t'aime moi non plus, I love you, me neither. And it was actually written in 1967 by Gainsbourg for his then-girlfriend Brigitte Bardot. The story goes that the date went wrong and Bardot phoned Gainsbourg and demanded that he write for her the most beautiful love song he could imagine, as compensation for the horrible date. Jane had stated, "I didn't want to be a musician. It just happened that I fell in love with Serge Gainsbourg. He'd made this song with Brigitte Bardot the year before and had asked me if I wanted to sing it. Out of jealousy, I said yes, because I didn't want anyone else to be singing it. It sounded to me as if they'd made it in a telephone cubicle, so I said yes, of course, just out of loving him and being scared stiff that he would be with some beautiful blonde. I had no ambition to be a singer, but Serge would write me songs, and I didn't really have to think about whether I was a singer or not. I just sang his beautiful songs, which were amongst the most beautiful ever." The duet skyrocketed the pair into an even higher level of stardom. We were in Paris when we went for dinner in the wine cellar of Hôtel des Beaux-Arts. There was a record player, and without saying a word, Serge put the song on, and all of a sudden all the couples around us stopped talking, their knives and forks in midair. Serge pinched me and said, "I think we got a hit record." We never thought for a moment that the song would be so popular. Every day we saw the song climbing higher and higher on the charts. It was crazy. Although it was written for Brigitte Bardot, it was Birkin who brought the song to life. The duet reached number 1 in the UK, being the first foreign language song to do so. In 1971, Birkin and Gainsbourg had a child, a daughter, which they named Charlotte. From 1971 to 1972, Jane took a break from acting, but returned for the film Don Juan, or If Don Juan Were a Woman, in 1973, where she co-starred with Brigitte Bardot. Jane stated, "Brigitte Bardot, she's the most utterly perfect woman. There's no fault. God knows I looked. Even her feet are pretty." This would be Bardot's second-to-last film before retiring from the film industry entirely in 1973. It was Serge who certainly helped Jane build her confidence as she grew, having been teased for much of her younger years and being contrasted with her mother's strikingly feminine beauty. The pair would continue to work on multiple projects throughout their 13 years together. They were very much in love, but not without flaws. Known to have very public arguments, Jane would go on to say that he was a very difficult man to live with. His temper and bad habits slowly increased, and by 1980, the couple split. Serge died in his apartment of a heart attack in 1991, a month shy of his 63rd birthday. While they were together, Jane became Gainsbourg's muse. She became synonymous with wearing fringy bangs, flared denim jeans, often paired with a simple white t-shirt, mini dresses, and the wicker basket bag. She carried her basket bag everywhere for every occasion, from the farmer's market to the red carpet. In a 2019 interview with Vogue, she talked about her fashion choices during that time. When I arrived in France, I was a copy of Jean Shrimpton. The French women were really very well groomed at the time. My famous Portuguese basket that I had bought at the London market did not leave my side, but if I was denied entry to Maxime's because of my basket, I didn't really care. In 1983, the artistic director and CEO of Hermès, Jean-Louis Dumas, was seated next to Jane Birkin on a flight from Paris to London. Birkin had placed her signature wicker basket in the overhead compartment, but the contents fell out onto the deck, leaving her to scramble to replace them. As Dumas assisted Birkin in picking up her belongings, he joked that Birkin needed a handbag with pockets. Jane replied that when Hermès designed a large, everyday bag suitable for a mother, she would give up her signature basket in its favor. She then stated that it had been difficult to find a leather weekender bag that she liked. The two got to designing the bag on that very flight, drawing the first sketches of the Birkin bag on the airplane, incorporating Jane's feedback. 1 year later, the Birkin bag was released. It was spacious and able to be secured, so it was perfect for a mother on the go, as Jane requested. The clean lines, minimalistic style, and casual flair perfectly embodied Jane Birkin's iconic laid-back style. Jane was gifted a Birkin bag upon its release, of course, which she individualized with stickers and other accessories. She eventually sold her original well-known bag at an auction for more than $162,000. By the 1990s, the bag had risen to popularity, and the luxury handbag quickly dominated the market, being referenced many times in pop culture, for example in Gilmore Girls. The demand for the bag has been skyrocketed and has remained an emblem of status and luxury, being further solidified by Jane Birkin's legacy as a fashion icon. As time went on, Jane would star in several movies, such as Dark Places with Christopher Lee and Joan Collins, Agatha Christie's Death on the Nile, and Evil Under the Sun, as well as a variety of French films. She would also go on to have her third daughter, Lou. As she got older, she stated, "For me, there's nothing more beautiful than a woman at 40. It's the sort of age where I find that there's a blossoming. It's what they've left behind. It's what's coming. It's the fragility of adolescence into middle age." And by the age of 40, Jane decided to cut off a majority of her hair and dress more androgynously. When she was last asked about her beauty regimen, she stated, "I don't wear a lot of makeup anymore. When you're older, you know what you want to hide and what you want to show. When you're 16, you can wear as much makeup as you like. But when you're my age, it can make you look crazy." In 2013, Jane's eldest daughter, Kate, died when she fell from the 4th floor of her apartment. During this time, Jane went through an intense period of mourning and did not speak to anyone for a very long time. Jane Birkin died on July 16, 2023, at the age of 76 in Paris, France. She will be remembered and celebrated as an iconic style muse of the 60s and 70s. Whose beauty, artistry, and creativity will continue to inspire. Thank you so much for watching Cultured Elegance. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share this video, and comment below telling me your favorite part of this video. You can also consider becoming a channel member today to have access to exclusive perks. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.